Hi, I'm Susan Graham of Senior Edge Legal. And this is a terrible time we're living through with this coronavirus and all of the impacts of people not being able to work and staying at home. And let me tell you what we're hearing in my office. We received yesterday 3 calls from people who lived in Tennessee, New York City, and Las Vegas. Now, I'm an Idaho attorney, and that's all I do, so it was bizarre that we got those calls. And those people were calling desperate to know what to do when someone had not signed any financial powers of attorney and they had not signed any health powers of attorney, and they were in these intensive care units because of the coronavirus. The man from New York called and said he had an aunt and his mother who'd lived together for years, who were both intense in Central Park in New York. He wanted to get them out, and they had no documentation that allowed him to do that. The person in Las Vegas called and said that he had a relative in a nursing home in Las Vegas that had the coronavirus, and he wanted to take them to Washington State. And how could he do that? Because there was no documentation. When you're in that circumstance, what happens is you have to go through conservatorship and guardianship proceeding in the state where that ill individual resides. Those are very expensive and cumbersome, and our court systems are often closed because of this virus. So how do you handle that? You can't handle it when somebody's incompetent. That doesn't work. Incompetent means mentally or physically can't make decisions. But if they would sign some minimum documents ahead of time, that would be a great help. We have put those documents for free on our website. The documents that everyone needs, and you have to be over 18 to sign these documents, are a financial power of attorney that says who can sign your checks and do modest business on your behalf if you're seriously ill, and also a health power of attorney and a living will. In Idaho, we have combined both those documents together. The living will says if you're terminally ill, that means you truly are knocking at heaven's gate. Then what do you want for your care? Most people say, give me the good drugs, keep me comfortable, and let me go. And there are other choices. One of them is find all the fancy techniques, keep me going as long as possible. I've done thousands by now, and that's rare that people choose that. Another in-between choice is give me nutrition and hydration with tubes. I'm talking everything comes in with tubes, nose tubes, stomach tubes, out with tubes, and then they go out with tubes. So again, most people choose the last one, which says keep me comfortable and let me go. Doesn't matter to me what you choose, it matters to you. And if you don't have one of those forms, the legal and medical system require you be on the tubes. In addition, if you have not made any arrangements for what happens when you die, the guarantee for each of us, me included, then at a minimum you might want to sign a will. Idaho allows for a holographic will. That's a will that's 100% in your own handwriting, printed or script. If you have a crummy handwriting, as I have these days, who cares? Just still do it all in your own handwriting, date it, and sign it. But if you really can't read it, then type up some version so somebody can interpret what you did. Everyone needs, at a minimum, those 3 documents. So if you don't have them, or you have a loved one who doesn't have one, please go to our website and download those forms. The Idaho Legal Aid also has on their website free forms that are available for the financial power of attorney and the health documents. They do not have the will document that I spoke of. But I encourage each of you to think about this. I mean, this is a terrible time we're in, and it's just by a chance someone may become seriously ill or die. And who can be a representative for that person who's ill? I would recommend against going through a conservatorship and guardianship, but that is, if that's all you have available, that may be what you look at. The person in Las Vegas who wanted to take their relative to Washington, they called my office. I did not speak to them because I don't represent them and I'm not licensed in Nevada. But if they had taken that person out of the facility without anybody's permission, and who knows who's standing at the door saying you can't leave, that's illegal. They could be criminally charged for kidnapping, even though they're doing what any family member would want to do. That's terrible. And the person in New York who has these two relatives in a tent in Central Park, what do? Same thing. He has no power. He's going to go to court and get an order. That's expensive and it's time consuming. So how do you solve those problems? There is no easy answer. But again, if you're here in Idaho, use the forms I have encouraged you to use that are on our website or Idaho Legal Aid, or in your own state. Go to the legal aid website or see what you can find for free forms at a minimum to fill out. Thank you for listening to me.